Hello everybody, this is another video that I've created for persuasion and argumentation. Basically, when we're persuading someone, we're making an argument or a point that we want them to believe our position and we want them maybe to take a course of action. Next, well, what's the difference between persuasion and argument? To me, persuasion is what we do every time we write something. We're trying to persuade our audience that we are right. And then argument is persuasion. Persuasion is within argument. But however, instead of trying to persuade people via pathos and ethos, for an argument we're trying to persuade people with principles of logic and reasoning. Not to say that you can't bring pathos and ethos into it, but when you're trying to persuade in an argument, we usually look at pathos. Here, these are just some ways that we use argument and persuasion in our everyday life. For you guys here appealing a grade, if you wanted to appeal a grade or talk about a grade with me, you'd want to bring facts. And then you can read over the rest of these if you'd like. Okay, an argument involves the process of establishing a claim and then proving it. You want to use logical reasoning, examples, and research. So again, guys, I said this earlier, but pathos and ethos can also be used here, but the bottom line is, or the main facts or support should come from pathos, logical reasoning, examples, and research. Facts. Here are the main ingredients, or what we need for an argumentative essay. An issue open to debate. So make sure that it's something that's debatable. If it's something most people will agree on, then you probably won't have a good choice of thesis for an argument. State your position on the issue, give your reasons, and then give your evidence. It's basically how we write everything. Think about our compare and contrast essays. We didn't really have an open debate, but you had your thesis, it put your position about compare or contrast the similarities and differences. Then here you gave your reasons in your body paragraphs, and that support here in the body paragraphs came, from the readings we did. So basically an argument is very similar. It's the same, but here we really want to concentrate on logos, facts, expert opinions, research, statistics. Okay, when you're writing an argumentative essay, you want to know your audience. I'm not just your audience. Think of the broader picture. So make sure you know your audience. For instance, I like to use this because it's so. For instance, if we were writing a paper for a Muslim audience, maybe you would not want to bring a lot of Christian or biblical evidence, because your audience, if they were Muslim, may not find a lot of credence or a lot of power in the Bible or Christian documents. That said, too, what about if you were talking about there should be no more ESL programs in college? Know your audience, because if you're writing mainly for an ESL population, you really have to have some strong evidence, because they have a huge gain or a stake in the ESL program. So know your audience. Next, how do we structure an argument? Here's one way. You want to have your introduction and your thesis statement. Those are very important. Your background information. If you're writing about a topic that your audience may not know a lot about, give them information. Give a couple paragraphs of background information if you need to. That way, if your audience has some background information, they will be able to understand your argument better, because they have more knowledge of the topic itself. Then you want to give your reasons and your evidence within the body paragraphs. And then here, this one, opposing view and the refutation. I say refuting. But anyway, you want to refute, or let me say it this way. You want to bring in the opposing view. Always bring in the opposing view from the other side that does not agree with you. Why do you want to do that? Does that make your paper weaker? No, it does not. If you bring in the opposing view, you let your reader know, your audience know, that you have really researched and you're willing to show the other side and then refute it and say how your side is better. However, sometimes there may be a fact from the other side that you can't refute. It's that good. It's okay. Still use it in your paper, but secede from that. Just say, something about, this is very clear, blah, 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 but spin it as well as you can back to your side. And then you're obviously the conclusion. The thesis statement is the most important part of your paper. What I like to do is ask myself, what am I trying to prove? And then I will write this. I am trying to prove that such and such and such and such and such. And then I'll go back and I'll erase I'm trying to prove, because you don't need that in the thesis statement. So we know that the thesis statement drives the whole paper. It's the map. So make sure that you are very clear and have a strong thesis statement. Again, what are you trying to prove? What do you want people to change their minds about? Next, there are 3 thesis statements. You can read all 3, pause, and then I'll give you my explanation. Okay. Number 2, to help parents monitor their children's viewing habits, the V-chip should be a required feature for television sets sold in the United States. This is very strong. We have our topic, and then what do we want them to do? We want them to require these to put in televisions, these V-chips, so that parents can view their children. So some people may say, no, we shouldn't require that. That may be a invasion of rights, or why add more to it? It may make the TVs more expensive. So then you would have to prove why we should have V-chips in our televisions. Use a reasonable tone. Make sure that you use a fair-minded tone, have credibility, don't use harsh words. Even for the opposing side, show respect always. I mean, think of yourself as in a debate. You should be respectful, although some of our presidential candidates have not been showing that at all. And then here, again, respect the opposing views. And then down here, don't use nasty words, don't attack anything personally. You can be passionate without using harsh words. Why have a counter argument? It means it lets your reader know that you are a credible writer, that you've looked at all sides of the argument, that you're well researched. And then here again, keep a balanced tone when you debunk or refute the opposition's points. You should have a paragraph devoted to that, or you may want to add in the body paragraph itself, this is the support, however, the other side states this. You could do that within the paragraphs themselves, or devote a whole paragraph to the counter argument. Here again, how do you counter argue effectively, or debunk or refute the other side? Go ahead, sometimes you have to. Maybe they have such a strong fact from the opposing view that you have to concede and show some respect. Instead of trying to hide it, your reader will respect you more for not hiding it. And then here, do not use rude language. Always be considerate. Okay, so this is an argumentative essay. Just remember, have a strong thesis. What are you trying to prove? Have great support. Since this is an argumentative essay, you should use more logos, logic, than pathos or ethos. Although you want to have ethos in there. Make sure that you're credible. Make sure that you're citing all of your facts. Okay, everybody, thank you.